Hey, a lot of companies waste an enormous amount of money on marketing. You know, their designs are great. The photos are beautiful. Your website really looks great on the phone, but it's not getting customers. Why? Because you don't have the words that make people buy. But now you can fix that with Sage Tree. Sage Tree can help you find the words that make it easy for your customers to understand what to do and how to buy from you. Stop wasting money today and schedule a call. Getting started is easy. Visit sagetree.com. Click on the schedule an appointment button. That's sagetree.com and click on that schedule a call button and you will be happy forever.
Yeah. We use Sage Tree. They're wonderful. Highly recommend. Anybody that has any kind of business they're looking to promote and they have a website or they don't have a website, call Sage Tree. They do a great job. So, Alicia, we're going to do a curtain call.
Sure.
What do you got?
So, let me flip on over. So we have just a story. It comes out of Houston. So as we know, I want to always preface, and a big part of, just a mindset and a thought that I have is that anything that you hear in the news, a lot of these stories do make national news. Don't just assume that the law of the land and the way that it went down in that state is going to be how it would be here. So be mindful of your state laws. This was Houston, so the laws in Texas are different than they are here.
Wait, they are?
What?
Imagine that.
Right. California.
Or not only are the laws different, but the interpretation of
Correct.
We have some of the same laws that are just interpreted and enforced differently too.
Very true. Very true. Very good point. So what we have here is we have the story. I'll give you the title. The title is Veteran in Wheelchair Shoots Man Who Tried to Rob Him at Downtown Metro Station. So out of Houston, we have a gentleman in a wheelchair. So right off the bat, he's of a class of people that are considered compromised to a point to where the law may apply a little bit differently to him. But in this story, if you read into it, he was wheelchair bound and he was there at the Metro and a man approached him and tried to take a bag off of his chair. So we have theft, right? There was no mention of any threats, no words, no raised arm, no weapon, no tool, no fear shown other than the taking of property. This gentleman in the wheelchair happens to have a firearm on him. He pulled his firearm from I'm assuming a different bag. He pulled that firearm and shot the person trying to take his things. Gentleman was hit. He was taken to a hospital. He did, as far as we know, make a good full recovery. So this is a situation where a gentleman used a firearm to defend potentially himself, property. Whether he stated that he was in fear, we don't know. The article doesn't give us that information. But what it does give us is that he was using his firearm to defend his property. Is this legal in California? Would this fly in California?
No, not legal.
No, it would not legally. Correct, not as it is. So just know that, and that can even pull into what we were talking about, those image-based decisional drills, situations like this. Sometimes we, out of, having theft, feeling violated. Theft can be a form of violation. It can feel uncomfortable. It can make you feel in fear. But does that rise to the threat of fear of death or great bodily harm? It should not. But some people, when they get put in those situations, they take steps that they may not realize that they would do. If you talk through it, you may not realize that you would feel that way, but you get thrown in that situation. Sometimes we take steps that take us a little further than we intended to. In his state, he was not charged. This was in Texas. The laws there, again, are different and interpreted differently. You are able to defend property differently than you can here in California.
In California, that would not have flown.
No.
Well, and sometimes, of course, don't get confused, listeners. Sometimes your life is in danger because someone is trying to steal your property.
Absolutely.
Meaning that they're willing to, commit murder on you to get to your property.
Correct. You try to take that bag back, and they pull a weapon or they raise an arm. That changes it.
I used to get into that discussion a lot with people way back when we used to have to write good cause statements.
Wait, what were those things?
Yeah, I know, right?
I hated those.
People would say, like, well, gee, what's my good cause? Well, your good cause is that you carry valuable items or whatever. And they'd say, well, I can't protect valuable items, with lethal force. no, they might try to lethal you to get to these items, and that was always a discussion. I was actually, frankly, in hindsight, kind of amazed at how many people knew that you can't defend you can't defend property with
It's California.
lethal force. Yeah, yep. So okay, so you said that he made a full recovery.
He did.
And I want to be okay. So this guy, someone stole a bag from him. He was
Tried to.
Tried to. What does that look like? That he tried to? He grabbed it and couldn't get it off the wheelchair or something, or?
The article doesn't. It doesn't give a lot of clarity to it. It just simply says the gentleman's a loosely used term, attempted to remove the bag and to steal it.
So he and you mentioned this, but he very well could have been worried for his life.
Could have been. The article doesn't speak to that, so that would be we can kind of talk to both ways of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
Leaves a lot for interpretation.
It does.
Well, thank you, Texas. So why don't we touch on while we're talking about carrying for self-defense? There was a little bit of movement in the Rena case. I think we talked a little bit about it last week, but let's touch on it again.
Some fantastic
Which, by the
movement.
way, yeah, the judge did a really great job. Which, by the way, fun fact: the judge in that case is married to District Attorney Summer Stephan. How about that?
Wow.
You know what that means? Nothing. Doesn't mean anything. But it's kind of interesting. So
Trivia.
the judge, what happened was there was the Bolin case up in Orange County. And they said, yeah, you know what? These microstamps and a couple other of these features that you can't find on any, all three of them you can't find on any gun, and therefore no guns can be added to the list. That's unconstitutional. So we're going to put an injunction, and then we're going to stay the injunction, and then we're going to let them appeal. But still, we're pretty sure it's unconstitutional. That caused the Rena case, which is, if you're a San Diego County gun owners, you're a plaintiff in the Rena case, because San Diego County gun owners is a plaintiff in that case. The Rena case, the judge came out and said, yep. And the Rena case, interestingly, one of the big differences between the Bolin case and the Rena case is much broader. So if you look at the Rena case, if they were in a vacuum, if the Bolin case won, it would most likely get rid of microstamping. If the Rena case wins, it'll get rid of the whole kit and caboodle, the entire roster. So it's interesting. But the judge moved and said, hey, at least this is unconstitutional. At least this portion is clearly unconstitutional. Again, stayed his injunction. So it's no change in business yet. It's going to take a long time. The other thing is, even if they do have an injunction, all these gun manufacturers have to still get added to the roster.
Which will still take time.
Take a lot of time.
And money.
And money. So we're talking
Yep.
6-12 months. If tomorrow,
If they want to do that.
Yeah, well, if the injunction happens, which and they get through the appeal or whatever, we're talking. It would take 6 to 12 months just for the manufacturers to, start. Just for you to start seeing a Gen 5 on a.
But that's a whole new market for them, though. And think about how us Californians have been deprived of all of these guns that we want from all these manufacturers. I mean, it would be a gold mine, I would think, in a sense, for all these manufacturers.
Oh, I think so first off, California buys more firearms than any other state.
Even though we're so anti-gun.
Any other state, including
But what
Texas.
makes you think
Me.
the left is just going to lay down?
Oh, they're going to go down fighting.
They're going to go down fighting, but they're going to go down.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Not the left, but the
it's gonna do
anti-gunners.
it. It's not going to take. You're not going to. It's not going to happen in a year. They're going to drag that because they got way more money than we got.
No. Yeah, you're right. What I was saying was, if it happened, it would take 6 to 12
So you
months
say the
just to add.
best
Best-case scenario.
Yeah, even in a best case scenario, it's not like
Right.
boom, you can just go buy whatever you want. They still have to go through. If the Rena case wins, there's a chance that whole entire roster just goes away. But the most likely scenario is that it'll just be, possible for manufacturers to add firearms to the roster, but then it'll take them 6 to 12 months just to get those firearms onto the roster.
You know how many times I hear a day, oh yeah, the gun roster is going away. That means I can buy a Gen 5 tomorrow. And I had to explain to them, that's not the case, guys.
What would you buy if the roster didn't exist?
SIG 365.
Very popular choice.
Yep, for
Alicia,
my carry gun.
what do you got?
Oh, I'm thinking a Hellcat.
Ooh, that too.
Me too. I think
That's on my list.
that Hellcat, it came out and people were so excited about it.
And you know what's funny is I am not a Springfield fan
Yeah.
at all, but I like the Hellcat.
And if memory
It's purring.
serves, and if my understanding is correct, that Hellcat was built from the ground up. It wasn't like a
It's very different, which is why I'm okay with it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So it's not like they took an XD and
No.
just put a new coat of paint on it.
Correct.
Nope.
They it's from the ground up. Which I've never owned a 1911. What?
I haven't either.
I'm picking one up tomorrow.
Oh, really? What'd you buy?
It came from a friend who passed away.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry to hear
it's
that.
a sentimental. It's a Rock Island.
Well, if I ever do I was looking at the TRP through Springfield. So if I ever do get a 1911, it'll most likely be. If I ever do get a 1911, most likely be a Springfield Armory. So I don't have anything against them. Not a big XD fan, but that Hellcat. Oh my gosh,
Purdy.
their marketing just got it seeped into my soul. Like how this thing is that good?
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. I think that probably is the first thing I'd buy. I don't know if I'd buy it. I don't know if I'd buy a Gen 5.
We would all buy something off roster that we can't have
Just
now
because we can.
just because we could.
Just because we can.
Yeah. And then you're just going to see the market on all these manufacturers skyrocket in California and be like, oh my gosh, look at all the money we could have made all along.
Well, if you look long term, let's say 5 years or midterm is probably more accurate. The assault weapons ban. If you break it down, you got if the assault weapon ban goes away, if the mag ban goes away, of course now we're all carrying, and then if so they had a ban on CCWs, that went away. And then the ban on pistols.
The
if
roster.
all those goes away, if the roster ban goes away, and of course CCW, blah, 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 huge economics behind those things going away.
Huge wins for the Second Amendment, too.
Huge wins for the Second Amendment, but every shop out there, all their customers will again become potential customers because now they all got to go out and buy new stuff.
And now you're going to have lines long in these gun shops just waiting to buy everything they couldn't have before.
There you go.
And they are still law-abiding people.
There you go.
It's only $585.
What's $585?
The Hellcat.
The Hellcat.
Oh yeah.
But not in California.
No.
Of course not.
It'll be at a premium.
$15.85.
Yeah, you'll be paying a premium
Sounds
for all
about right.
those off-roster guns whenever they can be available here because manufacturers will know they can do it.
Not ridiculous.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.